Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome aboard if it's your first time on the channel. I'm Ash, your host. Today I'm going to be discussing 15 fragrances from Alexandria Fragrances, 10 of which will be for the warmer weather, 5 more will be for the cooler weather. Of course, wear whatever you want, whenever you want, it really doesn't matter. That's completely up to you, but I feel like these are just the general perspective that a lot of people will probably tend to lean towards as far as when to wear these kind of fragrances. Also, I'm not going to be discussing original creations from this house, as I feel like those are in a separate category from the inspired expressions, which we will do today. So the way I ordered this list is completely based on my own personal preference. It is not based on how close they are to the original creations or the original formulas that these fragrances are inspired by, nor is it based on popularity. If you do have any particular questions about any of these fragrances or any other fragrances from Alexandria, because I have tried quite a few, definitely let me know in the comment box below. So I may have lied slightly about 10 fragrances for the warmer weather. I actually have 2 here for number 10, for the number 10 spot. I have, first of all, is Citron Del Mar, and this is inspired by Creed's Millésime Imperial. This one here is called Formless, and it's inspired by Barreto's Pulp. The Citron Del Mar is, I would say, about 93 to 95% close to the original. Very nice fragrance. It actually, I believe it lasts longer than the original. I mean, depending on the formulation of the original that you have. But this is a really good option. It does have that kind of watermelon, musky, maybe a little spicy kind of thing going on. Rather luxurious smelling, but also kind of fresh and a little bit salty. Now the other one here, Formless, this is inspired by Barreto's Pulp. And this one, I've only tested a sample of the original. And I would say that they definitely come very close. This is an extremely strong fragrance, very, very potent, and it can be off-putting. I would say that it's probably within the 90 to 95% range. It's very close to the original, maybe even closer to 95%. It smells amazing, but you do have to kind of be careful with this one, where you wear it. Moving along, number 9 here is a fragrance inspired by a Tom Ford fragrance, which would be Neroli Portofino. This is Alexandria Port, and very simple. It is like a soapy style fragrance, Neroli. Some people will say it leans a bit more feminine. I'd say this is like a perfectly unisex fragrance. It does have a somewhat prominent kind of floral to it. I would say it's about, again, within that 90 to 95% range compared to Neroli Portofino. But this one is a bit stronger. It's definitely going to last a little longer than that one. Definitely one worth trying. So the number 8 spot here is Brasilia Cologne, which is inspired by Creed's Aventus Cologne. And this one had a little bit of wearing with it. I actually really, really enjoy wearing this one. I don't own Aventus. I've never even tried the Cologne version of this. I have tried the original, but I would say, I'm just taking a guess that this is probably pretty close to that one. It smells definitely very high quality. It's kind of like a more citrusy version of Aventus, a little bit more on the green side, a little less smoky, and perhaps a little more youthful than the original Aventus, or in this case, Brasilia. So as far as I know, they have 4 batches of Brasilia, one being the more fruity version, another one being the smoky version, another one being the Prive version, and then the last one being this Cologne version. And I have not tried the fruity or the smoky version. I have tried the Prive, which is on this list actually. I'm going to be talking about that in a moment. But overall, I really, really like this one. It is rather full, as you see, because it's still very new. So number 7 on the list is this guy here. This is Crystal Peak, and Crystal Peak is inspired by Creed's Silver Mountain Water. This one I really, really enjoy. I feel like it's about 92% close to the original. There's a lot of similarity. I'd say that this one's a bit stronger. It has a little less of that inky quality that the other one has. It's a very fresh, invigorating fragrance. It's also, I want to say, a bit classy, a little bit more elegant. a bit more mature compared to your average fresh fragrance. It does last a little longer than the original Silver Mountain Water, which I have tried. Actually, I have a sample of it still from a really, really long time ago. Can't even tell you how long it's been, but this is a very good option here. So number 6 on the list is this one here, which I waited a while to get, but it's Cairo Summer. And this is inspired by Serjoff's Neo. I have not tried the original Serjoff Neo, but I can tell you that just by guessing, this is probably pretty close. I would probably say like in the 90% range, maybe even 95% compared to the original. Again, I have not tried that. But this is just this is a mind-blowingly fresh green bergamot style fresh fragrance here. The quality is definitely there. I would say it's also a little woody in the base. It's rather simple in structure, but definitely gets the job done. A very refreshing fragrance, very unisex. I mean, in my opinion, everything is unisex. Really, you just wear whatever you want, but to me, this does not really lean one direction more than the other at all. But it's a perfect fragrance to wear for the beach. So number 5, I went through another bottle of this, and actually, to be honest, I can't even remember what happened to it. I think I gave it away or something. But it's this guy here, Citrus Splash. So this is inspired by Tom Ford's Mandarino di Amalfi. And Citrus Splash is very close to the original. I actually have a bottle of Mandarino di Amalfi, and this is one of my absolute favorite fragrances to wear for the summer, more specifically when it's really, really hot out. So anything over 100 degrees, I tend to reach for this a lot. To me, this is a perfect unisex fragrance. Although some will say it leans slightly on the feminine side, I just say, you know what, if you want something to wear on a really hot weather, give this a try. You most likely will not be disappointed. It's very easy to wear. It's very, very likable. It's got me really nice compliments many times. I would say that it's about 94% close to the original. It's very, very close. There is a slight difference. I feel like the original is a bit smoother than this one, but this one's a bit more juicy, a little bit more like on the citrusy side, just a little bit. I think you really cannot go wrong with this one. Give it a try. So number 4, I did briefly mention this earlier. This is the other Brasilia here. It's Brasilia Prive, inspired by Cretaventus. Now, I believe that this is inspired by a certain batch of Cretaventus. To be honest, I cannot remember off the top of my head which one exactly. I think it's like the Z01 batch or something like that. Honestly, I really don't care, and I don't know. But as you see, I put a bit of a dent in this one. It's very close to Aventus. I have sampled Aventus. I don't own Aventus, but I definitely have sampled it. This is probably within that 93 to 95% range. I mean, it's pretty close. I think that this is like a perfect balance of the fruitier and smokier batches of Aventus. So you do get that pineapple, you do get a bit of the smokiness, the birch from this fragrance. Personally, I get a little bit of a leathery quality, which I don't really hear a lot of people mention when they talk about Aventus. I don't know why, but I do get a little bit of the leathery quality and a little bit of woody quality as well. So number 3 is a relatively newer fragrance for me from this brand. This is inspired by Nishane's Hachivat. This is Hachivas or Hasivas. It is kind of similar to Cretaventus, but I feel like it goes in a bit of a different direction. It does have this pineapple, citrusy, fruity kind of quality. However, it's a bit different, just a bit. So I definitely would say that this is somewhat similar to Aventus, at least to my nose. Some people say it's very close or very similar. Some people say it's not close at all. I'd say that it is rather close, but there are definitely some differences. I think that this one's a bit more amped up on the citrusy, fruity quality and a bit more mossy compared to Cretaventus. It's a bit more pungent. It will last a really long time. Just great, great fragrance. I do want to mention that I have not tried the original version of this fragrance, but yeah, this is really, really good. Number 3 on the list. Number 2 on the list. This one may surprise some people. I mean, it looks like I barely wore it, but I also purchased like a little 10 ml travel atomizer of this fragrance, and I used it up pretty quickly. At first I wasn't the biggest fan of this, but I did give it some more wearing and I ended up really, really liking it. And this one here is Stanley Beach. This is inspired by Tom Ford's Costa Azzurra. This is a slightly more masculine, fresh fragrance. It's a slightly more salty, aquatic fragrance. A little bit sweet too, and a bit woody. It's a really, really nice fragrance to wear, and it will definitely get you a lot of compliments. I have tried the original Costa Azzurra just from a sample a few times, and I'm gonna say that this is pretty dang close. You're talking like right around that 95% range and maybe even higher. And you might say that some of these other fragrances here might be more than 95% close to their original. I'm just kind of shooting for the lower numbers just to be a little bit more cautious, if that makes sense. So my number one fragrance to wear from Alexandria Fragrances for the warmer weather is definitely going to be Zion, which is inspired by Roja Dove's Elysium. And as you see, I put a little bit of a dent in this one. I'm going to be honest with you, I have never tried Elysium. Alright. This is a perfect signature fragrance. You can wear it anywhere and everywhere all year long. I just prefer this in, hot weather. And man, this is mind-blowing. Like, it's a perfect work fragrance. It's very fresh, it's citrusy, it's like almost metallic, it's green, it's maybe even a little mossy too. And I want to say a little woody and maybe slightly leathery. It does have a lot going on. It's bright, it's fresh, it's zingy, it's very clean also. It's a little bit masculine. It's definitely leaning on the masculine side, but not heavily. I mean, a girl can definitely wear this. Don't shy away from this if you're a girl and you like those type of fragrances. And this is probably my most complimented fragrance from this list, so maybe it's a little bit more fitting to be number one, but I personally put it here just because I really, really do enjoy wearing it. I love the way it makes me feel. You can easily wear this at work, to the beach, to an interview. I mean, you really cannot go wrong with this. You can wear it regularly. It's kind of hard to get tired of it. I mean, you could really wear this a lot, for maybe a month or two in a row before you get tired of it. For the people who don't really have a lot of fragrances in their collection, this is definitely one to consider getting here. And even for the people who do have a lot of fragrances, I mean, it's pretty easy to get addicted to this one. It's just really, really nice. Let's do our cooler weather fragrances here. I only have 5. I'm going to try to make it quick. So number 5 on my cooler weather fragrances list is going to be this one here. This is the Godfather. This is inspired by Nasomato's Baraonda. And as you see, it's really extremely full. I mean, I've tested a sample of this a few times. Compared to the Nasomato Baraonda that I've tried, this is probably about 94 to 96% close to that one. I mean, it's really dang close. It's very, very, very potent. This is really strong, guys. It's gonna last you all day easily. Compliments, I couldn't really tell you a whole lot about because I haven't barely worn it, but if you like the original, it's kind of a no-brainer. You might just want to pick it up just to see for yourself. But I'm also an advocate that, if you like the original version of a fragrance, get that as well, or instead. There's always like a difference, and although they can get really, really close with clone fragrances or inspired fragrances, sometimes it's better to just have the real thing for various reasons. Again, I'm not going to get into the moral debate about that. But number 5, Godfather. This is a boozy fragrance. It's a bit dry, a bit woody too, and barely sweet. It's very, very like pungent, kind of alcoholic, and it also smells luxurious. But to me, it's also like walking the fine line between luxurious and like a drunk. So give it a try. This next one here, I personally only prefer to wear this in really cool weather. This is number 4, Apple Crumb. Now, Apple Crumb is inspired by Parfums de Marly Wajan or Owajan. And I mean, I have tried that one barely. Like, I do have a sample of it. I barely tried that one. I ended up getting this one pretty quickly. I would say that probably in that 95% range as well, rather close. It is really, really, really strong. I mean, this one's gonna last a long time. So it's very much a gourmand fragrance. To me, I do get that apple pie vibe. I also, for some reason, get something that smells like Play-Doh, like a little bit of it, you know, it smells kind of like damp Play-Doh, just a bit. And that's, you know, that may seem a little off-putting, but I get a little bit of it. To me, it smells amazing. I don't wear this a whole lot, but, you know, I put enough use into it, as you see here, to really know. Of course, all of these are extrait de parfum, so not only are they very concentrated, they're gonna last a long time, they're gonna perform. It definitely leans on the sweeter side just a little bit. Now, this next one here is a sweet fragrance that I love wearing, and I'm not the biggest fan of like super sweet fragrances. Really just depends on which one. But this one here is just awesome. Number 3 on my winter list is, or cooler weather list, this is African Magic. This is inspired by Mimo or Memo's African leather. So a lot of people describe African leather as a kind of cardamom spicy leather, which I definitely get with this. I actually tried the original a long time ago and I lost a sample of it, so I couldn't tell you really how close it is to that one, but from what I recall, I would say that it's pretty dang close. Probably within the 93-95% range. I mean, the one thing that I get that sticks out to me a lot that I don't hear a lot of people mention is honey. And it's definitely, you get a leather, you know, it's a very smooth but potent and to me somewhat noticeable leather fragrance. A little bit smooth, but also a little rough. It's a bit wild in character. The cardamom, the spices are there. They are smooth. I mean, to me, I mostly get just a little bit of a spicy honey with the leather, and it's just impeccable. But I like this so much that I ended up getting 2 of these, so I have another one that I've used a bit more from compared to this one. That one's probably almost halfway, so I have, you know, put some use to this one. Now, number 2, I would say that this one deserves to be one of the most popular from this brand in general, and this is kind of for all year round, but especially during the cooler weather. I mean, you can kind of push it towards spring and even some summer days, depending on your location and depending on how much you spray of this. And just depending on whatever the heck you want to do, right? Do whatever you want. Number 2 here is Interplay Extrait, inspired by Maison Francis Kurkdjian, Baccarat Rouge 540, the Extrait version. This is potent. Gonna last you forever. I mean, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I have not tried the original, the Extrait version. I have tried the original EDP version, Eau de Parfum. And just from that, I would say it's really, really close. I actually do have the original Interplay as well. In comparing them, I haven't really done a side by side, but you know, I tend to remember how a certain fragrance smells. I would say that the Interplay and Interplay Extrait are very close to the original. And this is just an amped up version of that one, a little bit more warm, a little bit more creamy. You do get the almond, a little bit spicy. It's very smooth, it's creamy and ambery, and it's just decadent. I mean, this is an intoxicating, very sexy fragrance, at least in my opinion. It's gotten me some really nice compliments, by the way. I will probably need to get more of this at some point. This is not going to be enough. My number 1 cooler weather fragrance from Alexandria, my favorite fragrance to wear from Alexandria when it's cold out, is this guy right here, Wasted Moment. This is inspired by Killian, Apple Brandy. I have never tried Apple Brandy, I'm just gonna let you know right now. But this one, it's a bit funky in the opening. I mean, if you smell it off the nozzle, it smells a little weird. Some people really don't like this. It kind of has like a musky, slightly plasticky smell, and I think that you mostly get that in the opening. But overall, this is a very basic style scent, and it just does the job. I get like a green, apple-ish kind of fragrance with some woodiness. I believe it's like oak, and definitely boozy. You get like a brandy or rum style alcoholic note. It's a little bit on the sweet side. It can be a little off-putting when you first spray it, but once it settles, you know, when you're in the right type of environment, when it's really cold out or a little cooler out. This one is really, really sexy, and it's definitely got me a lot of compliments and people asking me what am I wearing. I mean, it smells very luxurious, but it also smells swaggish, stylish. I mean, this is this is really, really good. I'm gonna leave it at that, guys. So there you have it. That's my list, guys. Feel free to leave me a comment in the bottom, or if you have any questions about any particular fragrance, let me know. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you know anyone that's interested in this brand, definitely feel free to share the video as well as any of my other videos. I really appreciate all the support. Don't forget to like the video if you like it. If you really didn't like it, go ahead and hit the thumbs down. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Your subscriptions are greatly appreciated, okay? Much love, everybody. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon with another video. Take care.